I've seen this film at least 7 times. Is it a good film? No, but I did see it 7 times. So why? I had to think about that. The film is about a lady by the name of Pearl White who became a silent movie star, an action flick star, in the 1910s, which is remarkable in itself. So that's a great way. That's a great reason to make a movie, right? Right. She was already in 1947. She was not there anymore because she died in 1938. She did not become very old. The real lady, because this is a biopic. Hollywood has basically, from the moment they started making biopics of some sort, and now in 1947 they're making biopics of their own history, basically.
Hollywood talking about Hollywood has always been a thing.
Yep. And it is in color, which in 1947 means that they actually spent some money on this movie. It actually got a nomination for the song. There's a song in it. That's the only kudos they got out of it. But in that time, Oscars were not that plentiful anyway. So getting nominated was a big honor. Much later, they started putting more categories, and so it's easier to get nominated anyway. Winning is a different thing. But so they got nominated for one thing. This is supposed to be a biography of Pearl White, the real Pearl White, and if you summarize the lady's life in one paragraph, then yes. If it would have been 2 paragraphs, no. They go off script so fast. And you kind of can see that even when I watched the first time, I realized, there's some of this is bullshit. But still, I keep coming back to it. So if this is a lousy biography, it is. Yes, these events happened sort of to her. She was a young lady who was working and then took up with the theatre company and then was discovered in the movies, and then she was in the movies as an action heroine, and then these things stopped being interesting to the public, and then she was aged out, and then she went to France and did variety there because she was now rich enough that she could buy her own casino and her own theater there. She lived and died there. One of the things the film absolutely gets wrong, or purposely does so, this is not a mistake, is when she gets hurt. In this movie they have it happen all the way in the end in France sometime. No. That happened when she was filming serials. She got hurt, and she recovered, and then she kept on going. But these serials were so dangerous, and this is stuff that's not in the movie. These serials were so dangerous that, and she became so valuable to the studio that they invented the new job of stunt person, which was for her a man, because there was no other woman to do these stunts, because she'd been doing all these stunts herself. And so they actually got a stuntman in, never told anyone because you want to keep the illusion alive. But then the stuntman had to do a jump from a building onto a moving thing, and something went wrong, and very shortly later he's dead. And so it all comes out, and so the illusion is broken, and all of that is not in this movie because this movie is about the illusion.
Well, that would actually have been a very interesting thing to put in the movie and to explore.
Yeah, in 1947 they wanted the illusion of the grandeur of the movie. They didn't want any problems. So any problems, they were not in the movies. They were in France somewhere, because you can always blame it on the French. It wasn't actually blamed on the French. It's just an accident, but it happened to she happened to have it in France. So there's that. The plot itself of the love story of in this thing, as a young gal, she as a teen 16 or something like 16 years old. That's sort of implying that she's about 16. She was a lot younger in real life. She was 12. But she joins the theater company, and she falls in love with the lead actor, who was also the leader of the troupe. And this guy, at first, she's so uncultured, he's not interested. But between him and the other people in the troupe, she learns how to act. And then acting in vaudeville becomes less interesting for the public, so she sort of ends up in the movies. And because he has no job either, drags him into it, teaches him how to act in silent movies, which is a completely different thing. And they do a dance. The entire time they do a dance around each other. And it comes to a tea time drama kind of romance. And how this is sold to us is that Betty Hutton, who plays Pearl, is very charming. And the one time, I don't know if she's a really good actress, but when she needs to, she can be. And there's the one scene at the end where she tried to send him away because she had the accident, and she's going to be in a wheelchair for a bit. So she tries to send him away, and she gives a beautiful scene and that's a beautiful scene. And that is the strength of this thing, is that at the right points it has the beautiful scene, or the smart scene, all those things. Even though this is not an accurate biography, it is a glimpse into the world of silent films. Because, and I've already seen that after so many watches, you can see it. And I didn't know it, but when I looked at the Wikipedia, of course, there are 6 people who were in the silent movies are in this thing. So they know what it looked like. And so the authenticity of this is not the events of her life. No, it is all the rest. The people who are in that theater company, the type of the type of boss she had as when she was still working in the sweatshop, in the sewing shop. These things are 1895, 1995. It's it's recent enough in 1947 that people remember it, and the absolute commendation has to go to the lady who is in the theater company. There is a dowager lady who Pearl actually picks up with, and they both go together to the silent movies, but it's Pearl who's going to end up the star, and the lady is just there for support. I looked her up, the actress, Constance Collier, I suppose, as Julia Gibbs. She was in the silent movies. She knows all this stuff. She knows how to. She's actually older than Pearl White was, so she outlived Pearl White. She was born a good 10 years earlier. So. Fashion of 1897, she knows exactly what it looks like. She knows how to wear it. She knows how to instruct Betty Hutton how to wear the 1905 fashion with the Gibson girl look and the straw hat, because you have to wear the hat. There's no taking off that hat. The blouse and the skirt, she knows all that. And the other, most of them are gentlemen. The gentleman who played in the Pearl White's original serials, there was always a leading man. That guy is in this movie. The actor who played that, the actor who always played the bad guy, he is in this movie. They're not big people, but they're around. So if you want to ask, how was this done? You ask them. They know. And that's what makes this movie interesting. When there's a scene where Pearl and Miss Gibbs, the dowager lady, are invited to come for a couple of for some more bucks than they had seen in a week to come do a silent part for the dowager, and they take them to a set of stages in New Jersey, and and silent film stages. So they're all next to each other, and there's noise. There's a bar fight going on in one. There is an African scene in the second one. There's a kitchen going mayhem in the third one. They're going to the kitchen, and she's supposed to do a line, and she asks what line, and the director says, "I don't know," and it's just pretend you're angry. And then because she's used to actual acting and not silent film acting, so she does a beautiful line. And then these actual people from the silent era, because all of these in the kitchen scene are all silent era people, throw a pioneer kisser. And that's the kangaroo stuff that's going on. And then Pearl becomes angry because her friend is getting a pioneer kisser when they didn't know about it. She just grabs her and just drags her away, but she drags her through all these other scenes, disrupting all these scenes, including one that had a lion in it, and she just kicks the lion out of the way. And then she gets given a role in pictures, and because she kicked the lion so wonderfully, and she sort of goes, "I thought it was a big dog." And that's funny. So, even though the story is shy, it's the other things that make it. Sometimes that's just how it is. So this is not a great movie, but if you're interested in how, in the picture business, in the film business, how it worked in 1910, yeah, this is definitely. I think this is about as authentic as you can get in a time where they didn't do interviews with on video, on film with these people. Yeah, maybe some stuff in magazines, but this is authentic. This feels authentic. The costume, every time they've been hammering at the right things, badgering the prop department and the costume department to give them the right things. They couldn't really fix the story. But Betty Hutton is an absolute delight to watch. She's wonderful because she does everything with a gusto and an energy. And, she's sort of the school, make it big, make it loud. and she can still deliver that one moment of dramatic scene where it's needed. She's actually known for also being a singer. I have to say, in a world of Judy Garland's and Doris Day's, she's very mid. But that one song that got a nomination, that was the one ballad she does in here. It's supposed to be a musical as well. No, I don't. This is not a musical, and yes, there's like 5 or 6 songs in here, but they are all production numbers, either production numbers or she's the first one is she's just singing for the girls to entertain them, which I don't think that's not a musical number. A musical number is where you start thinking thoughts and then you start singing them or something like that, or this is purely entertainment. So the entertainment songs, there's a lot of them, and all of them are hers. That song that got her nomination is actually where she's recording for record, which Pearl White did record a couple of things. So they put that in. The only odd one out is where there's just an intermission of a bunch of gentlemen who are sticking up posters, big, huge, I mean like double man-size posters, and there's like four gentlemen singing a song, and it's kind of weird because work people sing songs, so I suppose on that entertaining themselves. Still not a musical, even though it has songs. I watched it 7 times. So, for a bad movie, that's pretty good. Peanut Gallery also saw it. Did you like
It's
it?
delightful. It was just nice. I thought also the other actors were very good. The old lady,
Yeah,
the
Constance. Yeah,
big actor guy. The moment he has to pivot to becoming and pull your faces and sweep your arms around a
yeah,
movie star, he does that very well. It's just he sells it. Yeah.
yeah. About that character, the actor is actually known for playing the exact same roles that the actor in this thing is also known for playing, like these over the top baddies, but he's that many years later, of course. I had the feeling, and I think the Peanut Gallery as well, that queer coding, absolutely here is queer coding going on, even though you could actually could have gone either way on this guy. Queer coding, yes, but I wouldn't say. I could say that he was either actually gay or pansexual or some other thing. But there is something going on here, and
Well,
I think he's playing it that way.
Yeah, one of the things is specifically he is never going to be a love interest for Pearl.
Yes,
That is clear. Everybody knows it. She knows it. He knows it, and they're good with that. And that means they can actually be good friends.
Yeah, and because she's Pearl sort of has the same type, even though different, friendship with him as she has with with the older lady. They are both mentoring her in that respect, and they're absolutely not a love interest. And she's completely in love with Darrington, and even when he's the leading man to her leading lady, he the plot there, the central plot of the love story is pretty much verbatim lifted from A Star is Born, which had come out 1939, I believe, the first one. It's kind of an inevitable plot because it's a man getting overshadowed by a woman in the same job, and men can't take that, and that's exactly his problem. They gave it a happy end. This is not the good part of the plot. Sorry, but no.
One thing I liked is the old lady is the moment that she leaves the Pearl leaves the company. The old lady's like, I'm going with her.
Yes.
Because that's the future.
Yes.
And it gives Pearl also a mentor who is going to be in her corner, and they're now partners effectively.
Yeah.
And they stay together.
They stay together throughout. The film does not explain it any other way than that, because also this character never existed in Pearl's life. So duh. But they have Constance Collier to play it, and yeah, you want to see her. She's absolutely wonderful. It's too bad that she was a star in the silent age, because she was actually on the stage more than she was in films. But even that, we don't have a sound recording of it. She would have been wonderful. She did a wonderful Anthony Cleopatra. She played Cleopatra. She actually, if you read the bios, because I read Pearl's White bio and Constance Collier's bio, Constance is more interesting. She met all these wonderful people, and turns out she was the very, very first person in Europe to get insulin treatment. She was diabetic, and she lived many years after that. So there was a lot. She had an interesting life. That's to do.
Oh, that's the hospital scene we would like to see.
Yeah, also in Europe, by the way. So yeah. So if you guys ever gonna do another biopic, pick this lady. She's absolutely marvelous, and and Pearl White also marvelous. But then do it properly. I mean, I love Betty Hutton doing this. Should have done the real story. But I do understand why they tatted it up a little bit to make it a little bit smoother, because it's just a normal bio of she started working at under 12. She was already working as a girl, and they didn't want to put that in the movie. I understand that. She joined that theater company at 13. they didn't want to put that in the movie, so they aged her up. But you can actually see by the clothing in that very first scene that she's wearing sort of a sailor suit from 1896-ish, and she's wearing, instead of a proper hat, she's wearing a floppy thing, and she has her hair down. She's meant to be a girl, an immature girl. That's you had the hair down when you were an immature girl, so they didn't want to put that in. Farrington they made up. I mean, yes, of course, this company would have had a boss, but there's no reason to think that they had a relationship. But Pearl did get married pretty soon. She married at 18 and divorced a couple of years later. And then she married like at least 2 times, maybe 3 times. And in the end, she ended up with a gentleman in France. No kids, so in the end, she left all her stuff to him. She did not marry that guy. So that's the real story. And then having her accident while she was in films, which they absolutely didn't want to put in the movie because bad publicity. They were still trying to keep that, dream alive of the movies is all wonderful. They still did put a couple of things in the movies about the Wild West that silent movies were, where directors didn't tell when they putting the stars at actual risk, and that's just you have to take it and take it and take it, and that is a thing that they were willing to own and then put it in. 1947 is a long time ago, and still, I saw it 7 times, and I might see it again sometime, and Peanut Gallery might see it again sometime. And that's not every movie that we watch or even talk about that we want to see. Yeah, once in a while I want to see that one again. So it was fun. It was a fun movie. But it's a little bit licorice all sorts. It's a bit of a little bit of this and a little bit of that and some of the other, but not brilliant. So that is my opinion. I'm sticking to it.